Jack Mercer steps off the bus, the weight of war still pressing on his shoulders. The town looks the same, but something feels different, colder, distant. He's come home, but the warmth of home is gone. He walks through the familiar streets, his boots echoing on the pavement. The people who once greeted him with open arms now offer only awkward glances. Something is wrong. He can feel it in his bones. At his parents' house, the reception is ice cold. His mother barely meets his eyes. His father avoids conversation. Jack doesn't understand. Until Dave, his childhood best friend, pulls him aside. Dave, hesitant, heavy. Jack, there's something you need to know. It's about Emily and Eric. Jack's heart pounds. His pulse roars in his ears as Dave lays it all out. His wife, Emily, the love of his life, has been having an affair. And not just with anyone, but with his own brother, Eric. The betrayal cuts deeper than any wound he's ever suffered. This is the same Eric who cried when Jack left for deployment. The same Eric who swore he'd take care of Emily while Jack was away. Jack doesn't storm into rage. He doesn't lash out. He simply listens, absorbing every detail. Then, cold and calculated, he nods. Jack, low, chilling. I need to see it for myself. That night, he follows Dave's lead to a local restaurant. Through the window, he sees them, Emily and Eric, laughing, touching, completely at ease. A life they built on betrayal. Jack tightens his jaw. His fists clench. He's fought battles overseas, but the real war starts now. And this time, he won't be taking prisoners. Jack doesn't act on impulse. He's trained to be strategic, to dismantle enemies piece by piece, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He starts by gathering intel. Late nights with Dave, going through records, tracking Eric's finances, following Emily's routine. Every detail, every weak spot, Jack takes notes. He's building his battle plan. First strike, the house. Legally, it still belongs to him. And now, with the right paperwork, he starts the process to reclaim it. An eviction notice is just the beginning. Next, his father, the retired colonel. Jack sits down with him, lays out every detail of Eric's betrayal. The old man listens in silence, the disappointment evident. When Jack finishes, his father stands up, his voice firm. Father, cold, authoritative. Eric is no son of mine. He's cut off from everything. Jack nods. That's one pillar of support Eric just lost. Then, Jack targets Eric's career. Using his contacts, he uncovers shady dealings Eric's been involved in. An anonymous tip to his company, and within days, Eric is fired. No income, no backup plan. The walls are closing in. Meanwhile, Emily's world is crumbling. She receives the eviction notice. The home she built with stolen love. No longer hers. She tries to fight it, but the law is on Jack's side. Now, she and Eric are scrambling, desperate. The confrontation is inevitable. One night, Jack stands in their way as they leave a rundown motel. Their last refuge. Eric, desperate, pleads. Eric, breaking. Jack, man, I never meant for this to happen. Jack, ice cold. You made your choice. Now you live with it. Emily steps forward, tears in her eyes. Emily, pleading. Jack, please. But Jack just shakes his head. There's no sympathy left in him. The war is over, and they lost. The war is over, but the battlefield is littered with the wreckage of betrayal. Jack stands tall, watching as the consequences of their actions consume Emily and Eric. Emily tries to reach out. She calls. She writes. She even shows up at Jack's doorstep, her eyes filled with regret. Emily, pleading. Jack, I made a mistake. I was lonely. I was scared. Please, we can fix this. But Jack doesn't flinch. His stare is cold, emotionless. The woman standing before him is a stranger, not the one he once loved. Jack, firm. You weren't scared. You were selfish, and now you live with it. He closes the door, and just like that, Emily is shut out of his life for good. She spirals, drinking, struggling to find work. No one in town respects her anymore. The woman who betrayed a hero is no longer welcome. Eric, once the golden boy, is now a broken man. No home, no job, no family. The shame is unbearable. One night, Dave finds him in a bar, drowning in cheap whiskey. Eric barely lifts his head, his voice slurred. Eric, defeated. I lost everything. Man, Jack took it all. Dave shakes his head, disgusted. Dave, firm. No, Eric, you lost it yourself. Eric stares at the glass in his hands, but there are no answers at the bottom of the bottle. Only regret. Jack doesn't celebrate. Revenge isn't about gloating. It's about justice. But standing in the wreckage of what once was, he knows he has a choice. He could leave town, start fresh, but something keeps him here. The pain he endured, the lessons he learned, they're not just his. There are others like him. Veterans who returned home to find betrayal instead of welcome arms. And Jack decides to do what he does best, help them fight back. He starts a support group for betrayed veterans, men and women who sacrificed everything only to have their lives shattered. He helps them reclaim their homes, their dignity, their strength, because no soldier should fight alone. Final scene. Jack stands outside his reclaimed house, the sun setting behind him. He looks at the front door, the symbol of everything he's won back. But this isn't home anymore. With one last deep breath, he turns and walks away, disappearing into the night. A warrior not just of war but of justice. And his fight isn't over yet.